deep levels.
Wow.
This guy, and they have information on
Everything,
and then like
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a good one. Okay.
All right, we're gonna head out.
All right. See you later.
See you later.
manipulate, have circles around them and things.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, have you ever used the?
Okay, we'll see you later.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna, during that session, I'm gonna go to the Canvas one.
By the way, I don't know if you know, there's a 15.
I'm doing that one
Certified or what?
Yes.
I'm doing that.
Yeah,
one.
I would actually ask.
Password.
I'm free for that.
Yeah, I don't have, let me just go check.
I was like, oh.
So one is already scheduled for us, right?
Yes, that's the,
Yep. And then 2:15, I'm gonna do the take your math instruction off road. I'm smashing with Jamboard. I'm doing what's
Testing. Oh.
yeah. Okay.
Hello, everybody. It is go time, and this is for Minecraft. And what is it? Actual title is.
This is Reshaping the Learning Environment, World Building in Minecraft. And so here in this session, we're focusing on taking projects, learning ideas, and other things and kind of honing some world building skills to create them within Minecraft. So we're going to go over a few of the major world shaping, world building skills that can kind of help you create these learning environments. I'm Rachel Rockow with Collegiate School in Richmond.
And I'm Brian Squires. I'm with El Morro County Public Schools. And then our third presenter is Sandy. Sandy's waving on Zoom, and she's going to be helping through Zoom. And she helped create all this. And actually, she's the one that actually taught me and taught Rachel everything. So.
So welcome. We're so happy you're here. We're so happy to be back at Vista. And we're going to start off the session with just making sure everybody has and can get into Minecraft Education Edition. So for those of us who are here, does everyone have Minecraft Education Edition?
It's loading, but it's taking
Perfect.
forever.
Yeah, and if you don't, I have a few iPads we can use it just don't all see it. And that way we can kind of explore. And thank you. Awesome. So you can kind of explore these skills. Additionally, you'll see the bit.ly that'll take you to our website. We have 2 sessions here at Vista. We have this world building one, and then we have one that's Minecraft for teachers with no time for Minecraft. So you can access both of the materials there. We have a questions sheet on the website, because as we work, as this session is kind of workshop based, so we'll review the skills, but then we're going to kind of get to building. So if you have questions or ideas or anything that comes up, you can pop it in there, and that's for the people at home and for the people here, and we can demo some of the things. So if we're working and talking, like, oh man, I wonder if this is even possible. Is it possible to build this in Minecraft, or to create this, or to teleport here? Then we can explore it and talk about whether or not it's possible and how we might do it.
Yeah. And we created a lot of videos so that you're able to watch it at your own pace. You don't have to frantically try to get it all done today, but this website will help you to as reference later on. But we'll go through that, and then that work session is a great time to try things out and get some one-on-one help if you get stuck on a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to jump into it, but yes, I'm glad you said that, Brian. Everything we talk about here, all the individual skills we're doing, we recorded videos of them. So later, if you remember and you're like, how do I use the clone command? You can go ahead and reference the video. So don't feel like you have to take frantic notes or anything.
Yeah. Or just ask one of your students, because typically they know it all anyway.
Yeah. And so we'll start. This is a session that's ideally for anybody who's familiar with Minecraft, but if you don't feel like you're super familiar with Minecraft, that's also okay. Minecraft is a game, right? That we use, an open world game that we used to create lessons in, especially during the pandemic, but beforehand. for our students to learn and explore. And we found that the game format was really engaging for the students, but also they learned skills and were able to build ideas and demonstrate their learning in ways that were super powerful. So that's why we got really interested in Minecraft, or at least that was mine.
Yeah, and also the education edition is nice because a lot of students will say, well, I play Minecraft at home all the time, I know how to do all this, but we always stress this is the education edition, therefore it's going to be school-based, it's going to have certain criteria, you have to do some things, and you have to show and be accountable for what you're building and why. So if we're taking school time to do this, there's definitely that purpose behind it. So just framing that for students before you get into Minecraft each time, so they just don't get dinosaurs and go crazy. So today's about showing you how to think about that lesson, what things you would want to build in that world and create, and what that outcome for those students will be. And that's really kind of what this session is about.
Yep, and our follow-on session is kind of like basics. So if you leave away here feeling like, whoa, we welcome you to come over to that one too, because it kind of covers the basics of what is Minecraft, why is it useful, how can I implement it quickly and easily. Anyways, let's jump in. We're going to sit because we'll be primarily presenting what's going on in Minecraft, but let us know if you have any questions. Feel free. It's a small group, so feel free to raise your hand if anything pops up, or drop it into the question catcher. So the first thing we wanted to do, and not to take too much time watching videos because there are quite a few up here for you to go ahead and explore, is we wanted to just talk about some of the demonstrations and things we've done in Minecraft as far as like massive world building skills and creating and shaping learning environments within the game. So I'm going to show you a few examples from Albemarle County. Is sorry, tech question. If I'm not sharing my sound, or
You don't need to watch the video. Yeah.
yes.
So
So I should,
when you first went to share the screen, if you didn't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I didn't.
Maybe stop and start it again.
Sorry, everybody.
That's okay.
Just stop sharing. Now we can share your screen.
I didn't see it.
Yep,
HD as well.
yep, got it. Share sound. Optimize video. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Problem is, it says it's gonna take 20 minutes.
I can't hear it. Oh, of course I can. I also muted myself.
Applications.
Is that? Okay.
In this video, we will show you just a few of the many ways you can use Minecraft to engage learners. First, we built a variety of blank build zones that can be
No,
No,
Sorry.
you have to have audio on?
tech issue. Sorry, everybody. Hybrid learning is so fun, isn't it?
So do we have to have audio on ours in order for audio to play through? Yeah.
You can also try to share if you want.
Two instances open because you've got a lag.
Yeah, I think it was actually just using my audio and feeding it back.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, well. And if not, I'll just narrate. I will tell you that if I end up narrating, Sandy does a much better job. So just pretend something very good was said, and feel free to go back and watch later.
Oh, 'cause I'm still on the.
Yeah, the other side. Do you want to stop sharing? I'll try one more time with mine. And then. Did you stop? You can't stop sharing? Cool. Here, Perfect. Did y'all hear that feedback?
Mhm.
I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah, it's on there.
Do you think that's the problem?
With that one, yeah.
Are created using cubes. The content applications are endless. In this video, we will show you just a few of the many ways you can use Minecraft to engage learners. First, we built a variety of blank build zones that can be copied and used for many purposes. Students spawn in the center and read the directions, and then they are able to fly off and choose a build zone. The visual boundaries help students share and maintain their spacing in a collaborative world. They can use their build spaces independently or with others, and demonstrating their understanding of many content concepts.
Right.
And that build zone was wonderful for the first time students are actually sharing space. Because it's color coded, it's easy for them to get in, choose a color, put a sign with their name on it, and then it's clearly outlined of their spot to build. So we use that as one of the early ones when they first start getting into sharing the world and build.
And yeah, I'm just gonna talk. We're gonna switch this up. Just to demonstrate what we're looking at.
This is another example of a blank build zone world. Here we have a lobby and 16 different build zones. So teachers would put signs in the lobby that give students directions, and then students would choose their build zone or go to the build zone that's assigned to them. And this pressure plate teleports them to their build zone. So here you can see I'm in my build zone, and there are border blocks so that I and my partners or my small group can build in this area, but we can't cross over to build in someone else's area. This type of build zone would be helpful if students were struggling with maintaining their space or griefing other players. But you can see that the build zones are pretty large, larger than the other build zones. So this would be good for a larger project. Build zones also keep students from getting lost in the world.
Yeah.
Is the build zone like a setting, you can just type in how much area you want each one to have, and it just build it for you, or do you have to go in and build it all yourself?
So that's a solid question, and it's not like a setting, but there are commands and other skills, which is what we're going to highlight in just a second for exactly that, because a lot of the massive changes we make would be impossible or just way too time consuming to be worth anyone's time. So with those, I'm guessing you and Sandy made that one, right?
Mhm.
So you used just fill command, right, to make them?
Yeah, and like the first build zone one was basically a clone one, so it's kind of a copy sort of paste. Once you build one, then you just kind of clone it out.
Mhm.
And then the bigger one, you can fill in the big areas with the borders. And then it's just teleport blocks to make students go to that spot when they walk through the door.
Yeah, and to that, we'll jump into the skills. So basically making massive changes varies on a scale of what you were capable of doing. First within the edition that we're using, so Minecraft Education Edition. But here we're going to focus on the things we can do in game to make these big changes. So we can probably go ahead and transition over to the demo. I'll stop sharing.
The world build skills.
I was just gonna put them up on the computer to see what's we got.
Okay.
You sure?
Okay. Look at this.
And if yours is, yeah.
So if you look at the page called major or world building skills, These are the skills we're going to highlight and are hopefully going to help give you an idea of what kind of things you're capable of building using commands in the game, and just some of the other features that make it a good learning environment. Everything we highlight, we said we were going to set a 10-minute timer here, maybe a 15-minute timer to go through them. So we might not hit everything. So we'd like to get into the workshop and kind of be building together here for a majority of it. But all of the skills are also highlighted below, and you can watch a quick specific skill-based video.
It just pulled up, so let me try it here.
Oh, so while we're at it, does anyone have a lesson or a unit of study they think would make a good Minecraft world? We thought we would leave it up to the audience, not you.
I teach world geography, so really any part of the world.
Any part of the world, awesome, I like it. Let's say the mushroom world, the classic piece of geography.
Well, actually, since we're keeping it 10 minutes, why don't we just kind of run through some of the features?
Yeah.
Kind of like how we would think through building the world.
Yeah.
That might be the easiest thing.
If you're, oh, do you want to back out and like start from there for like starting with the world?
Let's do that.
And maybe since if we'll go the world geography route, we're kind of thinking about a particular skill or anything like that, we will pull up a world that exists in the real world. Although the mushroom world is pretty cool. Mushroom.
All right, so as we're thinking about the world that we want to do, or if our lesson was geography, one thing you can do is view my world as basically everything you've already created. So that's all your stuff. But if you go to the right side to view the library, it's broken up subjects, starter worlds.
Hey, Brian, sorry to interrupt.
Mine-
It's too intense. Let's switch over.
Oh,
Sorry, everybody.
Sorry about that.
This is the first session. We're getting to learn all the tech issues. So I'm going to take over. Okay, awesome. You talk, I walk.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So if we were thinking about world geography, then we wonder, you probably don't have anything in your worlds already for that. So you go to the library side. And then in that library side, it's broken up into like subjects. So maybe if it's like geography, you can hop in there and see if there's something under geography. If not, then the starter worlds, they have the biomes part. So maybe it's something more of the biomes because you want to talk about valleys and ridges or oceans or something like that. So thinking about what you want the students to be able to kind of break out of that or be able to see that in your world.
And our other session will highlight a lot of the pre-made content that Minecraft has available to you. But in here, we'll jump into a biome. I'm going to grab the desert biome and start a world, and we'll kind of walk through. Do you teach anything in deserts or around or in parts of the world that involve deserts? Okay. So maybe we're doing a lesson on deserts, so we can jump into that. So I would start in the desert biome and I would open it up. And now if I were thinking through a lesson, I would think through like, what do I want my kids to learn while they're in the game? And then what do I want my kids to produce to show me their learning in the game? So we'll start with like a little trail here and talk about like how I might build this out as an experience. Generally, when I'm building something in Minecraft, that's kind of what I like to think of is like, I'm going to give them a time of experience to engage and learn with, you know, content. And then I'm going to give them a space to build. So, and then demonstrate what they just learned.
And then any outside links that you might use for the desert. So maybe there's like 3 websites you have them usually go to and do a little activity. Those can be embedded right here as part of the Minecraft as well. So as they go along, they can still visit those sites and even do a little activity right there if you want them to complete something there, or maybe it's just at the end, you want them to do one final completion. And sorry, it's just taking a long time for everything to load for some reason.
Yeah. See if this one will go quicker. So this one will generate a little bit quicker. This is a blocks of grass world. We use this a lot for like just massive build zones for kids to come in and to like build something, but the next thing we want to do is to pop into the settings and think through what we want the environment to look like. And so this is an important part of setting up the learning environment, because if you notice there were animals, and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's a distraction. So coming in and thinking through what you want. When you are going into Minecraft to do major world building, you always want to have the coordinates on, and that's a pro tip from the beginning, because a lot of what you do with commands requires you to know where you are in the world. And then I change things in the classroom setting that just makes my life easier. I don't need it to rain while I'm trying to build anything. I don't necessarily need any animals around, so those are mobs. And so those are some basic settings that are really helpful when you're coming in to actually build. Whether you change them later is entirely up to you, but I don't want the sun to set or it to rain while I'm building. Also ensuring allow commands is on, because we will be using commands.
Actually, go back to the game one as well. And so the game mode at the top, remember there's basically 3 game modes. So there's survival, where they do have to like get their stuff and make things and actually survive and eat and sleep. In the classroom, there might be a time for that. We like to do that with Jamestown so that they actually learn and they have to actually do things. Creative is typically the way we use it, because we want them to not be stressed, to be able to sort of build things. And then adventure, that means that when they go in that world, they can't build or break anything. They just experience the world. So if you build something and you want them to just experience it, they can do that through adventure mode. And then you can put allow blocks and have a spot where they can build at the end.
In adventure mode, can they open doors and things like that?
Yeah, so you interact with the world, you just can't build or break unless you've got allow blocks set in a certain area for them to do that. So it's a nice way of having them go in and not mistakenly break something that you built.
Yeah, which happens a lot. So yeah, make sure you're in creative for building. And then we are going to pop into the world and kind of talk about some of these skills. So we will jump in to our settings are good. We're ready. And now ultimately we want to think through where our students, we want them to go and how to guide them in a particular direction. So do you want to go through the towers and what you generally do? Or do you want me to? Either way is fine. Why don't you grab your mouse? Because I know another pro tip is building in Minecraft with a mouse is much easier than trying to do it on the trackpad. Oh, the you know, the towers and going through and building.
Oh, okay. All right, so if I had students coming into this world and I wanted them to do a particular path, the first thing I would do is think about where I want that spawn point to be. And that spawn point is basically when they join the world, where are they going to spawn? And I typically do that at like a position like 0, 0, 0 or 100, 100, 100, something like that. That is easy for me to let the students go to find, because students wander off sometimes and it's hard for them to get back to where it was. But if they can just teleport back to those coordinates, it makes it super easy. So that's part of the directions I always give, is what the spawn point is. So as you can tell up on the screen, the position right now is 13, 16, and -3. But let's do this. Also, when you're building your world, you want to switch yourself over to world builder, which is an important thing.
How did you get to that?
All right, so
yes.
good question.
Good question. So yeah, so when we get into start actually building and doing things and making large changes, we need to be in world builder mode and we're going to use commands. And so if anyone else is old enough to remember like actually commands on a computer and using the command prompt, that's exactly what we're looking at. So you hit backslash to bring up this window, and this is where we'll make all the magic happen. But we need to change our game mode. So you can do anything here that you can do in the settings with a command. You can make things happen in the game with a command, but we need to be in the right mode. So after we hit backslash, we're going to hit
Yeah, so basically these are just called slash commands. So if I did world builder, and as you type, you can see that it's popping up on the screen. And if you just hit tab and it will fill it in for you, or you can just shortcut and just do WB for it.
And, oh, sorry, and we have a list of all these too on the website. So don't feel like you have to memorize all of them.
At some point, can you put the website back up there? Because for some reason, it's not working for us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll come help you out in a minute.
All right, and then once you enter, it updates it to true. So that means that no matter, I can kind of create anything I want to in here and put all the settings in it. So now, again, if I want to go and teleport myself to that location of where I want it to start, I just hit that slash again, and then teleport is just TP. And then you can see right here on the screen, it wants your destination, X, Y, and Z. So if I did 0 space, and I'm going to do 5 space 0, and that 5 just means the height, and it's going to teleport me to this location. So now I know that 050 is right here, and if I want my students to start here, I can set this as the world spawn point. So what I usually do is to get your inventory, you just press the letter E, and everything is up since it's creative. I just find something colorful. So let's just do, that's the opposite way. I'm just going to do some red carpet. And then I'm just going to put this spot real quick. So I know this is my spot to spawn. So now when I go to that slash command, I can put in set world spawn. And what that does, that means anyone joining is going to start right at this red square. So put something there that you're going to remember what that looks like.
So, and then this, so setting world spawn is when, yeah, whenever anyone joins the game, whenever they boot up their own instance of this world, or if they join all together, they'll start here. Inevitably, the reason why we do 050 or something like that is the children get lost. And I was just doing a project with a group of middle schoolers, and a child built this huge intricate project and then was done, so it ran off to play. Got killed. Now this is an infinite world. So the kid said, how do I get back to my work? Because it'll respawn you somewhere random if you don't have this set. So how do I get back to my work? You just learned a hard lesson, because you can't. It's an infinite world. It could be anywhere. So setting the world spawn and thinking through where you want to put that means you can easily teleport children back to 050. It's just something to know, you know, when kids are being kids.
Yeah, and even the blocks of grass world, it's only 4 blocks deep, and they'll dig down and get under and then have no way of getting back up. So that teleport's an easy way for them to get back. So whether I'm in this one or anywhere else, what I usually do is just get another colorful block and start thinking, well, I've got 3 different sites I want them to go to, and then I want them to be able to build at the end or something like that. So I might travel off a distance and then almost like setting up a beacon, but get that.
Well, they're forever now.
Well, here. There we go. And then I'll just place them down so that I'm able to find these as I'm working. So I know that I came from this one, came here, and then went out some more distance for my next one, and then just kind of put these markers down so that I know that this is the spot that I want them to go to after they go to this one. That sort of thing. So as I'm building out my world, I just kind of put some markers in so I know where I'm going to put things.
Yeah, great. So once we get back into it, we have some things going, we have a set path, what we want to do or what we want kids to engage with. We can think through, like, what do we want them to be able to do, where, when, why, and how. One thing that's a really important tool are deny blocks and border blocks. And so these are things that can contain kids. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fill command. We don't have to paper out what we're thinking. You do. So this is where using the coordinate system is really important, because most of the commands rely on putting coordinates in to make things happen. So let's say, for whatever reason, I wanted a nice little cage here. for kids to be in when they spawn, so they don't run off to go play before I've given instructions or done something else with them. So I can quickly and easily build a cage. I probably shouldn't call it a cage. So I'm going to go to one corner of where I want this to be and write out the coordinate, 8, 4, 4. And then I'm going to head over to the other side of where I want it to be and write out that coordinate. -8, 4, -7. So now I'm going to use a fill command. So same thing, / fill, and then put in those coordinates. Oh, this isn't going to be. It's going to be messy because it's.
Because you can put border.
Oh yeah, thank you. 2, 4, -7, and then I'm going to use the border block, which is our little cage. And now you see if I mistype that, that goes away, and that's how I know I'm typing correctly or incorrectly, and it kind of helps guide me in my commands.
Or you just hit that tab and it'll autofill.
Yeah, how do I make it just a border, just around, instead of filled all the way through?
Oh, then you gotta do the strips.
Yeah, I'll do the strips. I'll show you that one in a second. I'm just gonna make it perfect right now. Or I'm just gonna make floor. What can I put in here?
Brian or something.
Okay, so I'm just making another landing pad here. So that's how you would use the fill command to make something like massive happen. And now I will do the border, which is slightly more tedious. -8, 5, 8. So
This, we always had discussions about, sometimes it's faster just to start laying blocks and move than it is to write out all the different coordinates. So just you as a builder yourself, just think about what is easier for you. Is it easier to write coordinates and type it in, or just to build sometimes? Now that fill that she just did, it's definitely faster to do the coordinates. But sometimes just if you're doing like the perimeter fencing, it's easier to lay the tiles.
yeah, and honestly, like Brian and I are kind of on opposite sides of this. I always joke with kids that I go into Minecraft and I literally don't move my avatar at all, because I always find commands quicker and easier. But then I watch Brian build it, and he can build as fast as I can go get coordinates. So it really is your preference. But I wanted to show you how the fill command works. So if I'm going to build a row of border blocks here, I'm going to, so I took the 2 coordinates on the long side of the landing pad. And go ahead, and now I have this. And so if I put it all the way around, I know kids can knock it out. I just took off my world builder status. So world builder makes it so that you can build all these things, but you also don't have to follow any of the game rules. So if I try to cross this line without world builder on, I can't, I'm stuck. So this is the cage not cage. So these are some of the things you can do, and you can see I just turn world builder back on, so now I don't have to obey the laws. Let's see, any questions about fill commands, border blocks before I kind of move on to something else?
Is there a clear command? So if you like that works the same way as the fill command?
So yeah, good question. There is not like a clear, and also it's really hard to, like, you can't undo, which is when I'm world building or doing something large, I stop, save my game, make copies before I do something big, because so often it can just go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if you have to excavate a large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to do that, and I absolutely could, so I use the fill command again. I'm going to use 8, 4, 4, and -8, 4, -7, which were my original 2 corners. And instead of any block, I would just use air, which is a block, and it'll go ahead and take that away from me. So the erase version is air. All right, so let's see. So if I'm going ahead and doing this, some of the other major skills, how are we doing? Okay. Some of the major skills that are really useful that I want to at least highlight before we get to working is an NPC and probably a command block, right? Okay, so, and again, you're welcome when we get to this workshop part to like talk, but we really want you to kind of like start a world so we can kind of work on it together. So an NPC is a non-playable player character. And what we have is an egg that we can create a person or something close to a person with. And you need to be in world builder mode in order to make this NPC do something. So I'm going to leave world builder mode and talk to the NPC, walk up and right click, and you'll see that there's a speech bubble. This is what your kids will see. But in order to change any of this, I need to be in world builder mode. So now when I right click, I can go ahead and I can edit and change things. So I might say, learn about cats. And I can change the look and what the NPC says. And I can also do advanced settings that can give kids other resources. So this is where the NPCs become a little bit more powerful. So if I go to the advanced settings, I can give the NPC a command, which maybe I'll do for flavor here in a second, but I can also add a URL. I'm just going to use google.com. I'm afraid to like cats.com. And then I can just go ahead and add that in. I can add another one if I want. Let's say our LMS Schoology. But I can say, tell me about cats. And I can put a link to an activity in Schoology. And then when my students go ahead and interact with this NPC, so I'm taking off world builder mode, so I can see it as a student would, right click. And what I see is that dialogue I put in there are 2 hyperlinks. So a student can come in here, you can have a series of NPCs for them to interact with along a road, and they can click learn more, and it's going to push them out to the website you put in the URL, where they can interact with like Britannica cats or whatever it is, and then they can go ahead and come back in and continue playing. So this is a really good way for them, for you to push to outside content and then have them come back in and demonstrate their learning. So one other thing, and I'm going to highlight command blocks here for a second too, is how you make things happen in the world. But your NPCs can also do things. So if I come in here to the NPC, I can add a command. And again, these lists of commands, Brian and I seem to have memorized, but they're on the website as well, and they're very Googleable. We don't need the backslash. They do it, right?
Yeah, I don't think we need to.
We don't know. We're gonna find out. Give at player. Let's see. And then let's see if that works. So a lot of it ends up being trial and error. Okay, so if you notice, and you might not have, when I talked to this NPC and left the conversation, they gave me a block down at the bottom called a command block. So I had this NPC give my player something. And it was a command block. So a command block is something you can place in the world that can make other things happen. Any command, anything you can backslash do, you can put into a command block, and they get really intricate. I tend to suggest going into some of the pre-made content in Minecraft and digging around, go into world builder mode and just break stuff, because you can find these command blocks everywhere and they're making things happen. There's a storytelling world where the command blocks, if you push a button, make a giant beanstalk appear. And it's just using a clone command from somewhere else. And so clone is like a copy paste command. So the command blocks are really powerful. Let's go ahead and let's see. Now you need to be in world builder mode and you need to give yourself a command block. So in here in the inventory, there is no command block. You won't find it here. You have to backslash give at yourself or all players, or somebody else near you, but at S, a command block. So once you have it and you right click it, you can make it do things. So here, I'm going to have it.
Do one of the title ones.
Hmm?
Do one of the title ones.
Title.
Yeah, so
Oh.
title.
Got it. I know what you mean. So what we're gonna do here is this command block is gonna make a title appear. And then. And so the block type, condition, and redstone are like how you make it execute its command. I leave these alone if I want to use like a pressure plate or something to make, so I step on a pressure plate and the command happens. But okay, we're good. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pressure plate. And you'll hear a lot about like, and whether you know a lot about like what redstone is in Minecraft and things like that, but redstone is how you can kind of make things happen. But pressure plates and other stuff have redstone built in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pressure plate here. And when I walk on it, a title is going to appear. So the command blocks make things happen in Minecraft. If I wanted to go ahead and change this, let's see. And then we can get to building. I'm going to grab this 2, 4, 42 and 0, 15, 46. So I'm grabbing those coordinates again. And if you do a lot of world building in Minecraft, your notebooks start looking really, really interesting. Just 3 numbers in a row over and over again. So if I'm going to edit this, I'm going to change this to, oh, I need a third. Sorry. 4, 22. So the last command I definitely want to highlight is the clone command. Thank you. So I'm going to clone that large gold statue. Is that 2, 4?
2, 4, 42.
Thank you. 42 and 0,
15, 46.
15, 46. 2, 4, 4, 22, and let's see.
Or just if you hold shift down. you
I know, that's the kids just taught me that. Kids teach you things all the time. My muscle memory is put a block there, put the thing next to it, but apparently if you squat down, then you can put things on.
Yeah.
Kids teach you stuff all the time. But that's just the way I do it. So if I come over here, you'll see I made that appear there.
So now break it.
Yeah.
So this is great, like if you got like, trying to get out of, want to break the
Oh,
title.
I was actually gonna, go ahead.
Oh,
I was gonna do a fill command.
okay.
Make it disappear.
So if you, like have a doorway and they have to find it and they break it. I had some 5th graders doing this. They broke the doorway and then they used that same sort of command that filled in the doorway after they got to the next room. So it's kind of like an escape room that they put in. So the next people coming into the room didn't know that door was broken until they went through it themselves.
Yes.
So if I wanted to clone one of the markers, the tall markers I made,
Mhm.
I would fly in the air and look down at it, or?
Because what you want to do, like if this is yours, you want to get like the lowest point and the tallest point, because you want to be able to clone the whole thing. So you have to have those like 2 coordinates. Almost think of it as like a cube that you want to take and put somewhere else.
How do you see the coordinates when you're looking at it?
So, in my top left, you can see I have the coordinate of my person, and that is like my ankles. So,
So that's where you're standing.
yeah, so
So how
I,
do you reference that with what you're looking at? I can tell.
so, if I wanted to grab this block, well, here, let me, do it, let's see if this works. Disappearing, maybe it's here. No. Oh. So if I wanted to grab the coordinates of this for a clone, I would come down to the bottom of it and grab those coordinates.
And you know where you are because you see that little black outline.
Mhm.
That's where you're standing at the point. So those coordinates reference that little outline spot.
So even though you're not standing on that square, it's talking about the square that your shadow's on?
Yeah, so it's basically talking about this square under my feet.
Oh, okay, the square.
And so what I do is I get one to the basically outside,
Uh-huh.
and then I come up and over and get one over here too. So I know that everything within that will be covered. And this is actually a really nice way to visualize the coordinate grid system. What's the block that lets you export for 3D printing?
Structure.
Thank you. So a structure block is something relatively unrelated, but also very cool. And if I stick it down, it will show me the coordinates that are in it. So if I right click the structure block, I can see that this is 5 high, or 5 across, 5 high, and 5 in the Z axis. So I can see, visualize that these are 5 blocks. So I know that this 1, 4, 46, and this over here, 5, 5, 50, are the 2 coordinates that are the bottom left, as it were, and top right.
Okay.
So the structure blocks are also really helpful in just helping you visualize this kind of XYZ space in Minecraft. I do want to give some time for some workshopping. And if you're interested, so if you have any like pressing questions of like, is this possible in Minecraft? Can I build this? Can I do that? I welcome them, but I'd love to just like set us loose on trying to start a world and having us here to kind of help navigate through that. So unless you have any pressing questions, I'd love to get into some world building.
I just noticed on the other thing that you had like ways to like embed and make it possible like in Schoology and stuff like that. Is it also possible within Canvas?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it just has to do with like the permissions, like as long as the kids are all logged into everything, those links should work fine.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't tested Canvas itself, but I've tested all the other ones. Yeah. All right, well, if you have an idea and don't know how to get started, the first thing I suggest is, I mean, if you're just getting started and you've never explored the library and what it has to offer, I would hop in here and look at some of the things that they have available within Minecraft. If you're ready to get to some world building, I would come down to the starter worlds and the biomes to get a big blank world. And yeah, we can start building.
I was gonna say, even the how to play is a great spot just to even hone your skills, even if you know what you're doing, even going in there and following through to see other new things that are there that you might not know.
Yeah. And up here, with the idea of us kind of getting into some building and some doing, I'm gonna pop up the website because I know there's some people who want to get on. And look at the commands, but I would like watch some of the command videos. We're here, so if you want to start a world, I'd love to kind of highlight what we could be building or doing. So let's take 5-10 minutes to just start and then kind of connect back together on what maybe we have made. Yeah. So let's see.
Okay, I see it.
I
All right,
think-
thank you very much.
where are you watching?
It's better than what I had in there.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna have. No, just I think it's better to pass after the world. Okay,
Yeah.
we worked really hard not to make it up.
Okay.
Definitely the one.
There it is. All right. We were off to a slow start because one of our computers just decided it was done.
But maybe it's different.
And yesterday.
Do you have a kind of a- like-
Oh, is it? Oh. Is that where the code J? Yeah. I don't know, if we're getting openings, but. Oh, so it's just- But not this.
So did you all get to the website?
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna show you some world building stuff I've learned.
I just got the one from you.
Be sure that we share the worlds we've created on the wrap-up page of the website.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So you can access some of the worlds we've made. I think actually I will jump over there.
For some reason, it's not working for us.
So class link.
Is it just the bit.ly?
I keep getting this, something went wrong, and it's spelled right. You have to capitalize the word?
Yeah,
Okay. why
that
is
matters
And it-
very much.
And it didn't do that either.
Where's the command,
That's me.
document on your website?
Yeah, so if you go to the wrap up down here under resources, I've got like a list of commands. More about commands. And this was like the most succinct thing I could find online about like the commands as listed. And they're fun to get in and mess around with. There's something really fun about suffering with commands for a little while and then making something amazing happen. But if you come down to resources Minecraft worlds, this is a list of the worlds that we've made. And really majorly adjusted. Let me pop in. Ooh, your escape room template. So. Into. This up. Right. Yeah. So this is one of the fun ones. Was it during lockdown? You built an escape room in Minecraft, and this was a thing that's happened. If anyone's ever heard of Find the Button, it's a game that exists that relies heavily on command blocks, and it's a lot of fun. So basically, you find a lever, you pull the lever, a button appears, you find a button, you push a button, it takes you to another level. And it's a really cool thing for the kids to engage with. But this was an escape room that we built. And if you look at this, like these houses were definitely built with a clone command, right? You didn't go in and hand build all these.
Right, so I built one and then cloned it to 2 and then cloned those 2 to 4 and on and on and on. So the teacher wanted basically an experience of escape room for the students and leave it open-ended. So all the students got to join here. They all chose which path they wanted to go, and then the rooms themselves are super simple.
Okay, see you.
And they just developed these rooms however they wanted to, so that they were able to hide actually the key to open the door to get to the next room. And they had to just do that all the way through. And it was one of their kind of passion project sort of times that they worked on. But what they created, this is just a basic template we gave them, and then they really just spawned it from there. And like I said, like that doorway and things like that, finding out, blocking it, and doing the command blocks. That's really what they used with this. So
Finding NPCs who give you clues and tell you to do things in here. So this is kind of where we, this is where like kids can start to use these things too. And especially if you have older kids, I work with middle schoolers now. They love to get in here and make things happen and to design experiences using Minecraft. So that was the one.
and this was the end of the year, so each one had to have clues about stuff that they learned in order to help them open it up.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of stuff with this with like simulation. So like I do like a transcontinental railroad one that we actually had to find in the world a mountainous region in the west and a flat region, and it took forever to find it. Now I know in vanilla Minecraft there are world builder programs where you can actually paint the terrain you want. Do you know if there's a way to do that with the education version?
Yeah, so I actually did exactly this. I made Virginia in
Okay.
Minecraft. And so the long and short of it is you use World Paint. That's what World Painter is what I use to make it into a Java world. And then you use a converter, and there are a handful out to make it from Java to Bedrock.
Okay.
And a Bedrock world will work in Minecraft Education Edition. It comes in messy. Like there's some cleanup to do.
Okay.
But
But there's no like program that they have that works
Yeah, no, not right now.
just in it. Okay.
So in your transcontinental railroad, they were looking for very specific like landmarks.
Yeah.
That went together.
Yeah.
Well, I know this news update has, so the structure blocks are supposed to be able to take one structure from one world to be able to place it into another world. Because the structure blocks we can take off and use in a 3D printer and print what they built.
Right.
So that's part of this new update. I've not played with that yet. But if there's different parts in different worlds that fit that and you took them out, theoretically, you can kind of build it that way as well.
That's actually a good idea. You could go into your world in one space, pull out the river you want using the structure block, export it, and then go open up even the same world with the other thing you want. Like, let's say you want a river and a mountain, and then put it in right there. Yeah, I
All
think
right, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
yeah, and that's the block I was showing to just look at the coordinate system. Anyone building anything cool? Or mess with anything or find anything? Let's see. Well, the couple of minutes we have left. The things that, but yeah, definitely check out the website to kind of like look into some of the other cool things that we didn't get a chance to get to.
And the coding aspect too, if you didn't get a chance to play with that in your student yet, it's remarkable. So if you've done anything with Scratch, it's all block based to start with, but then you can always switch it over to Java and Python. So I know the younger ones love building the blocks and then switching it over to see what it really looks like in Python and getting excited and feel like they're really coding that way. But it helps them with their worlds building a lot too.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite worlds to demonstrate like what massive commands can do.
Thank you.
Well, that's the danger of world building, is you can just accidentally delete things.
You're talking about using the hour of code option? there?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So yeah, I'm gonna show you within the game. If I hit C, it brings up an in-game coding platform. That is really cool. So there is code right here that is saying to test for a beanstalk. And if there's a beanstalk, to clone something or a bean seed. So this is actually, this was interesting. They use the code ones, and that's the other one. So this is like a big bad wolf thing. And I right click, it's going to launch this code, and this is using Code Builder. So they basically said, if you put this in the chat command, do these things. And so I'm going to, in the chat command, put the word, and look, that command made the house go away, because I'm supposed to be big bad wolf. I guess in this setup, in this scenario, the house kind of gets eaten away slowly, because apparently I blew it over. So that's all using this built-in coding piece, and let's see if I can. I use make code. And here's a good one too, like you can make giant things happen. The funnest one is definitely chicken ring. So on the chat command, chicken, spawn a chicken right in my head. So 5, a little bit above my head. And I want to do that. So in this coding, and it's very much like, just like Scratch, so the kids really recognize it if they've already used Scratch. Now I can say chicken and make 100 chickens spawn above my head. And it's only cute and funny because chickens, because they fly. If you try with any other animal, it's very upsetting. So yeah, the coding program built into Minecraft is amazing. Now the hour of code are usually outside of Minecraft. There is some hour of code stuff built in there too. I haven't explored it much, but what I'm used to seeing is that hour of code and have like Minecraft themed games.
Yeah.
But the coding in Minecraft is amazing, and the kids adore it because, like, I mean, who doesn't like making free chickens? So,
And they've got some pretty easy coding ones for the students to follow, like where you walk forward here, just simple things like that, that they can learn how to do that in Minecraft.
yeah, and then this one was that as well. It was a tutorial, so that's what he's referencing down here, these tutorials. Come on, Frank. Mine's running slow too. And so, like, yeah, flower trail, and it's got an actual, like, tutorial piece up top. So if I wanted to go slowly, I could actually sit down and learn how to place the blocks. Cool program with kids, and we're out of time. And thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate your time. Yeah.